When fire meets water, they're cancelled out, but when lightning meets poison, they're both enhanced to a new level. I'm Mr. Onit, and welcome back everyone. Today I'm bringing you a poison build that I've perfected with the new Warlock Arc 3.0 subclass. It provides insane ad control, insane movement, and insane survivability as well. We've managed to fit in 3 ways to spread poison via the build. Number 1, the most devastating of which is our teleport melee, which when we use, we blink forward, jolt enemies, and spread a ton of poison as well. Number 2, we can use our glaive melee to spread poison, and then our primary weapon, thirdly, can also spread poison as well. We also have on top 2 ways to spread jolt, which chains lightning between enemies. We have over 95% damage resist through our glaive block, which lets us stand in pretty much anything while we obliterate enemies around us. We have the ability to blind enemies as well and control large portions of ads. To top it off, we also have a great elemental well build included to let us spam our abilities reliably. Crazy to believe, but this is all in one singular build, the dim link for which will be in my Discord and the link for that in the description and comments below. At the heart of this build is the Warlock exotic gloves, the Necrotic Grip. Now these let our melee hits apply poison, and the poison damage is not insignificant. It can deal up to 680% of the total damage of the melee itself. The initial tick deals 18% of the damage, while the last tick deals 54%, and each successive poison tick deals 9% more damage each time, up to a total of 19 ticks. When a poison enemy dies, they're going to spread poison in a 3-meter radius as well. Now this is going to pair so well with the new Warlock melee Lightning Surge, whereby when we teleport forward, we bring down lightning which jolts our enemies, and now with the Necrotic Grips, this also is going to apply poison to enemies as well. Now poison and jolt actually synergize in a beautiful way. The more additional damage an enemy that's jolted takes, the more it will chain lightning to nearby enemies. And poison damage counts as additional damage, so each tick of poison eventually will lead to a jolt charge being spread from a central enemy. So definitely use your teleport melee into a big boss dude, and that boss dude is then going to act as like a Tesla conductor, which is going to jolt your enemies nearby as the poison tick damage goes on. Now with Season 18, the standard glaive melee attack now also interacts with Necrotic Grip so that it can also apply poison to enemies. Finally, our primary weapon, osteo striga, also applies poison, and with the Necrotic Grips, that will spread even without an osteo striga final blow and overflow osteo striga's magazine. Remember to like the video if you've enjoyed what I've been talking about so far, as that helps me out a ton, and for my regular viewers, thank you so much for supporting me so far. So let's go over our Arc 3.0 setup, which optimizes this build even further. For my super, I'm using Chaos Reach, which for tankier ads, it's going to help take them out really quickly. For my class ability, I'm using Healing Rift, then I'm using Burst Glide. Chain Lightning is my melee, as it has a shorter cooldown than Ball Lightning, so that we can use our teleport melee attack more often. And then we have Storm Grenade, which is a great grenade in itself. Our aspect, as we said, at the core of this build is Lightning Surge, which allows us to execute that teleport melee. Then we also have Electrostatic Mind, which when we defeat enemies with arc abilities or jolted/blinded enemies, we create ionic traces, which lets us become amplified. And trust me on this, nearly every enemy is going to fulfill that criteria, so pretty much all of them are going to be dropping ionic traces, though I do believe there is an internal cooldown for this. For our fragments, we're using Spark of Beacon, so that once we're amplified after killing a pack of ads with our melee, our glaive then becomes even more potent. The ranged attack from our glaive when killing an enemy creates an explosion which blinds enemies around it, letting you run in quicker because you're amplified, then melee enemies down and spread even more poison. I'm then using Spark of Resistance, which lets us have more DR, Spark of Shock so that our Storm Grenade can also jolt enemies and create more ionic traces, and then Spark of Ions so that our jolted targets create ionic traces. All of this is going to play into our feedback loop of gaining ionic traces quicker so that we can spam our abilities faster, spread jolt, spread poison, and stay amplified constantly so that we can consistently move from one pack of enemy to another as quickly as possible. For our stat distribution, you want to prioritize number 1, 100 resilience so that you can gain that sweet 40% DR. Number 2, high strength, as close to 100 as possible so that we can spam on melee as much as possible. Number 3, high recovery. and then discipline, intellect, and mobility in that order. In terms of our elemental well build, I'm running 2 copies of melee well maker and bountiful wells, so that whenever we kill a pack of enemies with our melee, we create 3 elemental wells, arc elemental wells, which boosts our ability regeneration. I'm then running Well of Ions, so that when we pick up an arc elemental well, our melee is empowered. Our final elemental well is Seeking Wells, so that our wells track to us and we don't need to waste time collecting wells and we keep the pace of the action going. Other notable mods that I'm using are Outreach on our class item, so that when we drop our Rift, we gain a chunk of our melee energy back. And then on my arms, I'm using Focusing Strike, so that when we use our melee, we gain a class ability back. This creates a nice feedback loop, which when paired with Ionic Traces and Elemental Wells, lets us chain both of these abilities together. To finish off the build, I then have Harmonic Siphon to generate orbs with rapid glaive kills, and Glaive Ammo Finder on my helmet. For my weapons, I'm using osteo striga as my primary, which can spread poison, and then for my glaive, I'm using the Arc Glaive Nezarec Whisper. For your heavy weapon, use what you want depending on your activity. So there you have it guys, an incredible poison build with some of the strongest ad control I've ever seen. Jolting, poisoning, blinding, all of which while being able to block with over 95% damage resistance. Absolutely nuts. If you liked what I talked about, remember to like the video as that helps me out a ton, and subscribe to the channel for more Destiny content. I'm Mr. On It, and that's it for today. Peace out guys.